Welcome to Ask the Coach. This is our fortnightly session, and I am now hearing a little bit of feedback. So if everyone can mute, that'll be great, and we'll work our way around that. Okay, if you want to play around with your speakers, maybe turn them down a little bit. We didn't have it in the green room. It's always the way. It's Friday. There's always tech issues, but don't worry about it. We'll work our way through it. So this is Ask the Coach. We pick up questions over the last 2 weeks to ask our coaches, and you get to vote. So this goes for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. But if you can't be with us for that length of time, then please vote on the questions under the Ask the Questions while I get the coaches to introduce themselves, and we'll then answer them in that order. Majority rules here. We're a democracy, we're a community, we all support each other. But hopefully you can stay with us for the whole lunchtime. Grab a drink, come and join us. So I'm Angela Cripps, the MD of the Recruiting Gym. This is number 37. We've been doing this for a year and a half now, every 2 weeks, open to everyone in the industry. So please do share if there's other people you think that would get benefit from asking people with lots of experience. Our coaches are amazing. We've had 60 different people now come along. So loads of different topics. Whatever your question is, I can probably find a coach to come on here and answer it for you. Okay, Charlotte's loving the shirt. You got a vote for that already, John? So while you're voting on the questions, let's get the coaches to introduce themselves. So John with the shirt, let's come to you first. If you can tell everyone who you are.
Hello, yeah, it feels like summer, so Hawaiian shirt straight on. I'm going to wear it for 5 months now, no matter what happens, in the hail and the snow and everything. So I'm John Brooks. Hi, everyone. So I help recruiters with their pricing strategies. We've got a couple of questions that relate to that already. So throw some more in if you want, or stick around to hear what my answers are.
Fantastic. So your career was started with Reed from the pricing point of view, and you did all their pricing strategies, didn't you? And now you have your own company. Yeah. All the coaches' LinkedIn contacts are there. If you want to find out more from them, please connect with them. Please go and ask them. I'm sure they'll be happy to help. Katharine, let's come to you next then. I'm sure people know who you are, but just in case.
Hello, everyone. I'm Katharine, your sourcing coach in the Recruiting Gym. So all the candidate type stuff usually comes to me. Yeah, really happy to be here with you today. I'm also feeling the warmth, John. I'm wondering if I can get away with opening my office window because it's rather warm in here.
I mean, we moan when it's cold, but we do moan. It's so British of us, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, we had the US version 2 weeks ago and all our US coaches, but yeah, we're very British on this one today. So let's come to Joe Lockwood. Joe, if you'd like to introduce yourself and unmute. Lovely.
Yes. Yeah, it's still morning. Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm all the way from sunny Chichester in West Sussex in the south of the UK. And it is sunny out there, although I've got my blinds shut. So that's my weather girl act for the time being. So I describe myself as an inclusion and belonging specialist. So I work with recruiters, agency in-house, around helping them create inclusive and diverse talent pipelines, positive candidate experience for people with diverse backgrounds. So challenging your hiring process for inclusion. And I also work with HR teams and D&I teams as well to supplement that. But yeah, if you want to talk about D&I, yeah, I'm your girl.
Fantastic. And it's been lovely to have you. We've had you on a couple of things now. We had a focus on D&I the first quarter of this year. So it's been great to hear more information, and we'll get even more today because there's been some questions come through. So let me just check then what's come up first. Okay, question 1 and then question 4 as it stands at the moment. So let's start answering question 1. I've been getting better at pushing back with clients. This was directed specifically at you, John. They've obviously been watching a few of your webinars and they have been getting better about when clients have been asking for discounts, trying to negotiate in the market that we're in. No. So they are good at that, but struggling to decide when they should ask for a fee up front. So whether it's a retainer or a project fee or something, and trying to decide when they should do that, when not, when's a good job. So having that clarification. This is your area, isn't it? So far away.
Yeah, I'll go for it. Thanks for whoever put it in, and congratulations. Well done for getting better. Angela, as you say, it is the perfect market for trying things like this. First thing I want to say is it's the market where you can just say no. You say, this is my price. But another approach to saying no to people is actually to give them a choice. So rather than just a flat out no, it's X%, you can say, oh, there is one way I can reduce the price if, and then you get something back in return. So that might be you're reducing the service a little bit, or it might be you say, I need a little bit of money up front, so you need to pay part of the fee up front or more of the fee up front. So if you think about it, there's probably quite a few things you value from them. Could be exclusivity, could be that upfront fee that we've talked about. But if you give them the choice, that's a softer way of saying no, because in effect, you're not saying no. What you're saying is either pay my full price or pay me in a way that's even better for me, potentially. Your choice. Ball's in your court. I'm not saying no to you. I'm not turning you down, but whatever happens, I get a good outcome. So that's my first tip. In terms of when to ask for a fee up front, I hear some people say, oh, I don't take a retainer if you can't fill the role. I have a slightly different view on that. Actually, I have a completely different view on that, let's be honest. The retainer or an upfront fee shouldn't be about placing someone. That's literally the placement fee. That's the invoice you send when you've placed someone. The upfront fee, you should always try and explain what it is and why they're paying you. So it might be that you've explained your services and you're saying, look, you've seen that the active candidates in the market. I'm going to have to spend a lot of my time going in and reaching these people, and not just reaching out to them once, reaching out to them, who knows, up to 10 times just to get in front of them, to sell this job for you. This is to go in that deep. I need this upfront fee. I need to be paid a bit now for that. Now that, of course, increases your chance of getting the people you want for the job in for interview, but it's not related to the placement. So even if the placement might not be certain, I think you can still justify taking that fee. My advice of so I would say you can always ask for a fee up front. The hardest time, of course, is when they're already out with multiple agencies. They're unlikely to. Check the timing, because if they've been out with multiple agencies for 6 months, then actually that becomes a good time to say you need a different approach. And I think they'll agree with you. I'd say the main time not to ask for a fee up front is if you don't want to get stuck with the client. So if it's, you're laughing, Angela. I'm sure you've got some stories about clients you didn't want to, you regret taking on. But yeah, if you're taking money up front, then you are entering a really close partnership. So just be aware, are they the right person for you to work with? So it's not about filling the role. You can explain that the role is very hard to fill, but I can help you in these ways to get closer, and you can pay me for that service. But make sure that they're a client you want. Again, in this market, it is the time to be saying, look, we're not quite right. Yeah, put it as nicely as you can, but we're not quite right, or I don't quite have the time to do this, so maybe try someone else. So hopefully those tips are helpful.
I mean, I'm really liking those, because you've got the starting point of it being you're paying for the service that you're getting at the start. And if you think when you're doing a really deep dive, like you say, they're going to get all that market information. They're going to get a report on who is available, what the situation is, and that's worth something for them. Whether it's a third, and a third, I think you need to sort of look at what you're offering at each stage, and the placement might be worth more at the end. But that's a great discussion to have. Joe, did you have something else that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I kind of concur with that. I think it's know your own worth. I think that's got to be the key thing. And I think as we're talking about there, what John was mentioning, is have these fallback positions. But what I would suggest is you make sure you have those thought about in advance. So you don't look like you're floundering in a pressure situation. So if you know that you want to go to 90%, what does that 90% look like? If you go to 80%, what does that look like? So you've almost got that stuck to your monitor in front of you, so that, because it's too often in a sales situation, you just make something up quickly and then you realize that there's all your margins gone in that one giveaway. So yeah, I support wholeheartedly what John said, but yeah, have it predefined. Talk about it as a team. think about the sort of things that you are prepared to give away. And payment up front for the whole amount is a really good giveaway. I think is a really good something you could say, I'm happy to take 10% for full payment up front. No clawback.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Those non-returnable deposits that we got used to paying for a lot of things, didn't we? We know that money's gone. So whether that's the term, I don't think it is, but around that area, I think that would be helpful, wouldn't it? Brilliant. Okay, thank you for that. Some great tips there as always. So let me click the done answering on that one. Number 4 is the next one that's got the most votes. So let's go with that. So Katharine, I'm coming to you. Struggling to find good candidates for my market. So this is someone in FinTech at the moment. Can you share any good hunting grounds that you know of? So where can they find these FinTech people?
Yeah, so interesting question, because I guess, does the market matter? What kind of candidates are you looking for? Because I suppose, you can be hiring for a FinTech company, but it could be any type of candidate. You're looking for techies, salespeople, finance experts, data scientists. Yeah, who are you looking for? I feel like I need so much more information with this question. So my gut says, if you're looking for the tech side, get to know your tech stack really well. So, this will all come from, meeting with hiring managers and stakeholders and things, and getting to know all the different technologies that people are going to be working with and will need to be familiar with. And then it's about learning about your competitors or other businesses. Quite a lot of skills, you might end up pulling people from an industry other than FinTech if these are techies, and actually you might have more money to offer them. So don't sort of be shy about contacting people from other industries if they use a similar tech stack to you. So it's going to be about learning about other businesses and who uses similar technology to you. So I think that's going to be sort of step 1 if you're looking for techies, is who out there is in a similar location, if location is relevant to you, and uses a similar tech stack. Then that's really going to help you identify those candidates. Because even if a candidate hasn't shared a lot of information about their experience, if they work for a company that uses similar tech to you, you can infer a lot of that information. So that could be useful. Again, if you're looking for other types of candidate, it could be about identifying, who's your competitors, who are other people in a similar industry to you, that you might be able to attract, who might know who you are and be intrigued by your proposition. So yeah, I think companies is always a great place to start when you're sourcing, because it can just help you break your searches down into manageable chunks and help you be thorough as well. So if you have a good list of target companies to start with, if you're searching on LinkedIn or a job board or somewhere else, if you're also looking on GitHub for techies, or you can look for people from each of those companies that's on your target list. And then when your manager says, "Oh, are you sure you found everyone?" you can say, "Well, these are the companies that I've been looking at. I've identified this many candidates from each one. Are there any that you think are missing from that list?" and things like that. It can really help you to feel like you've done a thorough job.
Well, that also helps with the client as well, doesn't it? That you can actually share with them, these are the companies that we've looked at, who have we missed?
And you can work with them on building the list in the first place as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point. And you're right. If you're on here and it was your question, then please give us a bit more detail if you want to. But certainly we tend to get a bit blinkered, don't we, in recruitment, and we're sort of looking in the same area and they've got to be FinTech. But actually, the conversation with the client, it might be no, they need to be able to be capable of doing this, but it doesn't matter which industry they come from. And actually, it might be helpful that they're from another industry. They might bring something that we're not even aware of. Who knows? So, yeah, definitely with regards to that. Joe?
Yeah, I think, put my D&I hat on. I think it's important to remember that our great candidate isn't necessarily working for one of our competitors. We sometimes get very blinkered at this sort of like, I've got this round hole and I need a round peg to go in that round hole. I need them to hit the ground running. If we think about, underrepresented, marginalized people from different communities, care leavers, maybe ex-offenders, all these drug rehabilitation people maybe come from a background you at first thought, oh, my biases are kicking in. I'm not sure I could take a risk on that person. There are lots of people out there that maybe aren't in that upper echelon of competitors that we're looking at. So how can you reach out? How can you attract those? Maybe the traditional GitHub and other things aren't maybe where they hang out. TikTok, Snapchat, all the contemporary social media places. We know that recruiters are doing that already. So how can you tap into these people that aren't being tapped into? Because your competitors are tapping into the same pool as you are. So you've got to start thinking outside this box. And when someone said, "Oh, women in tech are so hard to reach," my answer is just reach harder and reach smarter, reach deeper. Go up to your arm in looking for it. Don't just put your fingers into the market. Really start reaching out. And I think just those innovative solutions. And I think that's ask your current people, referral schemes, all those kind of things. But I appreciate as an agency, we've got a different angle to in-house. But yeah, we've got to start thinking about maybe people we've placed in the past. Who do you know? I'm sure many people are doing this already. So yeah, I just think smarter and just be more tenacious and look in places where other people aren't fishing already.
I think you raise a really sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say you raise a really good point there. Like if you're doing the same kind of searching, the same kind of outreach as as everyone else, you're going to find the same people as everyone else. The people you message are going to be have already been bombarded with messages. They're quite jaded about the whole thing. So if you can just do something a bit different, it's really going to set you apart. I mean, something as simple as taking the most obvious keyword you search for and actually excluding it from your search using a minus sign or the not or something can just bring up really different people that nobody else has found. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people on YouTube, gaming and Twitch, they're streaming, they're gaming, they're tech savvy. Whilst they may not be specifically focused on the area you're looking for, these people may well be open to an approach. They may be in a different job and think, wow, this could be an opportunity to get into something I've never got into before. And again, this is probably more around in-house thinking, but building academies. How can we train people? How can we find people and nurture them for the future, rather than just rely on existing talent?
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? What are you actually doing to help develop this? What are you doing to make a difference in the first place? And I've got this visual of your arm deep now. Sorry, Joe, but it's there. But for me, apart from the obvious, it also brought up when I was an active recruiter, I went right to the start and I was making sure I was in contact with all the universities. We would go and do presentations. I wanted to get these people right from when they qualified and have that opportunity to do that. And then I've got them for the whole of their career moving through. So again, it's about what are you doing to support that industry that you're recruiting for as well, to then move those people on. And of course, that person, they may have got into it because their dad or mum or aunt is actually a really high up person in that industry. And guess what? They're looking for a job. You never know. So again, get arm deep. I love that phrase.
The analogy I tend to use is cast your mind back, if you're old enough to remember All Creatures Great and Small with James Herriot. I'm thinking you need to go arm deep in the back of the cow, and we're not just getting our fingers dirty here. That's how deep we need to go. All the way.
There's something to look up on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's ones on TikTok. You don't even have to look them up. They just come up on your stream. Right. Anyway.
I always think of it as like, are you in the industry or are you orbiting the industry as a recruiter? Get in there.
Get on there. Right. Next question. Okay. LinkedIn newsletters quietly appeared on LinkedIn company pages. We've been having this discussion this week on our social media week. So what should I know about it? Well, it is new. Let's get Katharine in first. I'll share what I've learned as well. But I think this is going to be one that we're going to come back to once we've used it quite a bit.
So this is something I know exists, but I've not used it. So I'm not sure. Joanne, have you used it? Have I seen you?
No, I saw the question and thought, as I was talking, I was on my LinkedIn page. See if I had it. I haven't got it on either my personal or my company page. So no.
So on the company page, it's where you have the events usually on the right hand side and invite your followers. It's at the bottom of that. It's one line.
They are doing a slow rollout of it though, so not necessarily everyone will have it. So yeah, don't worry if you're not seeing it yet.
Yay, I've got it.
Oh,
I've got a newsletter.
great.
I
Wow.
thought that would be the case because it's just so small, isn't it? Which is again another reason why we love these things, because suddenly it's like, what? Now this could be brilliant because all your LinkedIn followers on your company page, that newsletter goes out to all of them. Now we've got our database, like 5,500. We've got 1,600 that are members in the actual gym on our platform, but there's another 3,200 odd on the LinkedIn page, and I bet there's loads of different ones in all of them. So that LinkedIn page bit, our newsletters haven't necessarily been getting to them. So this is an opportunity. We can copy and paste. Once you set it up, it's sort of, that's the theme. It's not like with our newsletters, we have a different one every week. So there's something different content. So you have to sort of decide what type of content you're going to go for, and it will keep with that as you're sending it out, but it will pop up on their screens. Obviously, if they follow it, it's going to go straight to them. What a great opportunity to repurpose work that you're doing anyway. So if you're running a company, if you're responsible for newsletters or any type of social media outreach or customer relationship management, get in, have a look. Is it there like Joe just found it? And then start having a play around with that and utilizing it. But yeah, thank you, LinkedIn. Very helpful for once.
I found something else the other day that I may well be late to the party. I may be the last person in the world that knows this. There's a little bell icon when you visit people's profiles, so you can turn on active notifications. And the other thing I found the other day was you can now add a web URL just above. If you go into your profile, you can add a web URL that appears just above your open to or your followers. And I've put a Linktree link in there with all my contact details and web. So again, those are just things that you just randomly find that LinkedIn have added to the system without really unless someone mentions it, you never know, do you? So I say I may well be late to the party on those things.
No.
I think the bell is relatively new. Yeah. I think those are both two
perfect. That's what this is all about. We're all
so
learning at the same time.
When you're doing your social media outreach, put the little, like you do on YouTube, please press subscribe and click my bell. You can start using that and say, please, if you're looking for updates on my job postings, please click my bell and you'll be notified about them quicker. So it's a good outreach marketing thing.
Now I'm singing, ring my bell.
I was trying to remember her name. Wasn't it Anita something? Ring my bell.
Anita Ward, is it Anita?
Anita Ward, it was. There we go. Now that is probably about 35, 40 years ago. So we're doing well on that one. Right. Okay. So follow us here. I might as well say click our kettlebell. Hello. At the top of the crowdcast here where it says Recruiting Gym. Follow us on there. You've got a follow next to it. That will then update you when we have these. So you won't miss out on any of those. Brilliant. Next question is number 3. So, okay, yes, this was interesting. This wasn't a work discussion, and then it turned into a work discussion. So just to give you a little bit of background on that. So this was the discussion around male-female sports and the bias and the issue we've got that's been discussed at the moment. So the swimmer that was a man that's now a woman and swimming and winning. And all of that's going on, and obviously a really difficult topic. And we've had Boris getting involved, and Trump last week was discussing it. I think that's where it came from. So from that, we then said, well, what about the positives, the advantages, or potentially disadvantages within a business? So for that individual or for the company, actually, could we see benefits, advantages, disadvantages? And we ended up sort of finishing talking about the glass ceiling and moving through that. And actually, could it make a difference in relation to balancing everything up? So, Joe, I don't know if you've got an opinion on this, but I'd love to hear what you think about this question. So what advantages or disadvantages would it give an individual or their company?
I think, first of all, the climate is very toxic as far as trans and gender diverse people are concerned. And I'm not one to want to engage in any debate about the validity of trans people, whether they should or shouldn't be taking part in something. My view is I'm a woman and trans masculine people are men. Therefore, debating whether I can take part in sport is very degrading and causes me a lot of pain. I also support the view that sport, elite sport for sure, needs to be fair. People need to have an expectation of fairness. But when we examine fairness, there's a whole lot of other dynamics around privilege, wealth, training, coaching, which part of the world you live in, training regimes, diet. There's a whole lot of factors, as well as your physical advantages that you're born with, regardless of your gender. So there's a whole lot of fairness that comes into it. So yeah, debating fairness in sport is great, but fairness for all, not necessarily whether we're debating is one person more worthy than another. So yeah, I try and steer away from those conversations. But in terms of an organisation and individual, I think if we are looking at men and women, aren't we then playing back into the sort of the tropes of the past where we have male brains and female brains? We have men are born to be leaders and women aren't. And we start creating this gender divide where we see people having advantages. I think the nuances are so subtle where people are just people. Yeah, some people have some skills, attributes that are valuable. Some people have different skills and attributes that are valuable. Yes, you might say that if it's a physical job, that typically a man may well be stronger. But again, that's a stereotype. It's a bias. It's an assumption. And you haven't necessarily given the female candidate the opportunity to say, actually, I'm world's strongest woman. I can do this. I can do whatever I like. I work out at the gym every day. And again, in terms of we associate being raised as male, testosterone, the conditioning that men have during their lives, must give them advantage over women. Again, that degrades women, and it says to women, you can't achieve as much as men because you haven't been socialized. So I think any conversation we have like this plays back into the 1900s, where we're creating these gender stereotypes where it was down to the size of our skulls and our brain capacity, and whether we have wombs that may get upset if we were on a train that went more than 10 miles an hour, and we might have a spontaneous collapse in hysteria. So I would strongly advise to avoid conversations that are pitting gender against gender and quoting advantages or biases, because a lot of it is unconscious bias. A lot of it is conscious bias or preconceived ideas or opinions you may have. So I would say, yeah, avoid problematic discussions and open it up to say, look, let's be person-centric. Let's think about the individuals. Let's think about the requirement of the role. A woman may not be physically as strong, but does it matter? Yeah, we've got a forklift truck. We don't need people to carry stuff.
Yeah. I'm certainly from the conversation where it went, it was more than about everyone being just seen as the same and everything merging, and therefore there wasn't those dissociations. And actually, could we all, and like you said there, could we all just see people as people without the thought of the gender bias and the issues and everything that we've had?
Yeah, I mean that's
wouldn't it be lovely?
It's not for you saying, people say, I don't see race, I don't see color, I don't see gender, and that effectively invalidates someone's lived experience. So I want you to see my gender. I want you to understand my lived experience. I want you to understand that this is a perspective I will bring into the organization, my value add. You're not going to get more of the same of other people. So in a way, I want to use who I am as a positive. I'm not saying I want to tick a diversity box, but if that's the box worth ticking, bring it on. Men have been ticking it's a man's job for generations. So I'm happy to tick it's the woman's job, or I'm a woman, hire me because I'm different. But I think we shouldn't use phrases like I don't see gender, I don't see race, I don't see color, I don't see.
Well, it's not true, is it?
No, because
we all have that.
And I know many black friends who want to be seen as well, because otherwise it erases their whole outlook, their whole lived experience. So yeah, see people, but don't bias against them.
That's the key, isn't it? And yet we have this inherent bias in us because of who we are, wherever we've been brought up, the ways that we've done that. It's a conscious effort to get rid of that bias. It's not unconscious, is it? We all have it.
Accent bias is probably stronger than some other biases. If you Liverpudlian, Glaswegian, Geordie, Essex, West Country, Bristolian, those accents are seen as less intelligent or less capable or whatever it is. And you throw into that mix the people who have English as a non-primary language, maybe it's a second language or third language, and we throw in other accents. It's all these things are kicking in as well. So yeah, it's not just gender. It's a whole lot of factors in the recruitment process that create worth hierarchy, if you like.
Yes. Well, hopefully, I must admit, I love it when we have a skill shortage because it gives opportunities to so many other people. It's that chance to say, well, okay, you're never going to get the perfect candidate for this. They're just not out there. Let's see what else we could do and what else could be brought to the party. And
I'm going to push back on that statement you just made there. We're never going to get the perfect candidate. We're never going to get the perfect candidate. Surely that's setting ourselves up for this elitism. We only hire the cream. Hang on a minute. Every person is potentially the perfect candidate, the ideal candidate that ticks the box. So, yeah, let's stop calling people perfect candidates. Let's think about the skills, the mapping capabilities against role profiles, looking at opportunities, learning quotients, all these things, and then not falling into this meritocracy trap that we keep falling into. That we only hire the best. We have to hire the top tier. You must have a 2-1 or a first from this university because they're the perfect candidate. I think that's when we're looking at de-bias. We're looking at when we're talking about just now about trying to source different people. We've got to start looking to different people and not seeing them as second best. How often do we think diversity hire as a second best choice? We've got to see people as equal value.
Yes.
Or we shouldn't offer them the job. If we don't think they're capable, we shouldn't offer them a job. If we offer them a job, they're capable. And we should trust them and nurture them and give them all the tools they need and amplify them, make sure they work and succeed.
So learning and development can kick in there as well. give them the opportunity to develop within the role as well. But vice versa as well. They're going to bring stuff that other people won't have. And let's get sharing and make sure everyone learns and develops from that point on. Okay, thank you for that. John, did you have something to? Oh no, you are still muted. It's just not up on your screen for some reason. Very weird. Okay, so let's go to the next question. What's number on my list? Number 5. Okay, so I think everyone can have an option on this. If you have any other questions, do put them into the chat because we've only got sort of 5-10 minutes now. So if you need your question answered, then please do. I am actually going to dive in and add a question for Katharine at the end, which is, what is Meet Your Recruiter all about? Just because it's sort of on everyone's lips at the moment, and we are working on that really hard, and that's next week. Right, last question then. Let's come to you, John, first. It's been so busy, hasn't let up since last summer, really, and I think majority of companies that I'm speaking to, that's their scenario. So can you give us a top tip for working smart? So it could be related to anything. They were quite happy just to get as many tips as possible. So let's start with one each, and we're happy to add some more in if we want. But yeah, top tip for working smart in a manic market. What would be yours?
Firstly, I think we all empathize in it. We know we should take care of ourselves and look after ourselves. But when it's super busy and when there's opportunities out there, you get excited and you just want to take them. So it's a big challenge. So I guess first thing is recognize that it's a normal feeling. When you're incredibly busy, when you're in demand, that's a really nice time to try things in terms of pricing and service and how picky you are about which clients you work with. So it kind of ties into the first question we talked about. What value are you getting from the role? So it's worth, you don't have much time, but step back for a minute or two and just think, what roles do I really want? So let's say you're working contingent. Look at your fill rates there and think, okay, actually, would it make sense for me to drop some of the roles where I'm only filling 1 in 6, 1 in 7? Are there roles there where I'm filling 1 in 3? Are there things I can do if you take an upfront fee or do other things to ramp up the engagement from the client and really qualify that client, make sure the role and the client are serious? That could become a 1 in 2 fill rate or even better than that. So it's worth comparing the types of roles you've worked on recently and then being more critical, being more picky, and saying, actually, if I only work those roles, or if I spend more time turning the 1 in 6 role into a 1 in 2 fill role, that's going to help me a lot more. And almost reward yourself that if you lose 1 or 2 of those really hard to fill, 1 in 6 fill rate roles. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. It's freeing you up to work on other things. And if you've lost them because you were trying to make it a better role, then even better. You tried something, it could have had a great outcome, but the alternative outcome is you don't have to work a role you're unlikely to get paid for. So start to take some calculated risks with the idea of improving your productivity, improving your outcomes.
I think that's a great, because we talk about a win-win negotiation, and that's actually a win-win in that scenario, isn't it? So you either get the role and it's better and it's easier for you to fill for whatever reason, or you're getting more money for it, or you're not wasting your time, which we can very easily be busy fools in recruitment and take everything because it's busy, and actually you end up not placing much at all. So not a great situation to be in. Charlotte, if you're there, win-win negotiation, John's course, might as well stick it in there while I've just mentioned that. Katharine, what would be your top tip at the moment?
So often at the beginning of the month, I will have a bit of a download of what's going on, just like your piece of paper or however you work, open a document, just have a think, whatever works for you. And I think about, okay, what are like immediate, urgent, these things have to get done, client commitments, that kind of thing. And then there's the longer term project stuff. What's actually going to help me achieve my goals for this year, for this quarter? What things have I got on which I just want to do to make my business better and all those things. And then I also think about what I want to do for me and I usually do this once a month. So, the me stuff, don't want to get my hair done, don't want to go away for the weekend, what do I want to do this month? How many times do I want to go to the cinema, and then I start scheduling things in, so the urgent stuff that's got to happen when it's got to happen, the longer term project work stuff, how can I break that down into manageable chunks? What's the next step on those things, and can I start scheduling those next steps in for the next few weeks, and schedule in the stuff for me as well. Actually, I make it a to-do in my planner so that I get to tick it off when I've done it, and it doesn't get ticked off if I don't do it, and that's very unsatisfying because I've let myself down, the same way that I might let a client down if I didn't do something for them. So I think just that intention, I'm doing these things intentionally. I'm not just rushing around putting out fires. You've obviously got to leave a bit of room for inevitable fires, but I do like to sort of take a little bit of time, plan my month at the beginning, and then hopefully I'm not just firefighting the whole time. I do actually get some of those longer term things done as well.
That's what we find with people in recruitment, because there is so much reaction. I get a lot of, you can't plan because it's all reactive. Well, it's going to be reactive, so plan for that time. So leave that space. That was a key tip that I learned early on. Don't plan everything out. It's going to get full. But the bit that they miss the most is that longer term stuff. So taking a step back at the beginning of the month, looking at the quarter, looking at the year, what needs to be happening now in little chunks, that means it's going to happen, rather than you get to the point and you're like, oh God, that's a huge thing I've got to do now. You just don't even want to get started.
What's one next step? What's one action, one email I could send, and just write that in.
Move it on. Brilliant. Joe, what would be your tip?
A bit of all of that, really. I like the idea of having every task must have a next step. If it hasn't got a next step, it's dead, effectively. So I would work my CRM, I would work my leads, my deals, whatever it may be, and everyone has to have a date on it in the future. And if I've missed it, I need to liven it up and say, right, what's the new date, and make a commitment to myself. One thing I did at the beginning of the pandemic was I invested in Calendly, which is a kind of an online diary booking tool, and I trusted the world with my diary link, which has saved me an inordinate amount of time liaising with people about scheduling, dealing with stuff. I now just pump my diary link out to anybody who I'm interacting with and say, pick a time. I do it in a very friendly way, so it doesn't look like I'm pushing it all to them. I say, if it's okay with you, do you mind? If it helps you find a time, save us toing and froing, and most people do. But I'm also careful to do what Katharine was saying, is make sure you block some time in, because if you give people free run of your diary, then very quickly you can end up with no time left. So I use a feature of Microsoft 365, which is it can create focus time in your diary automatically. So it automatically puts a 2-hour window of focus time every day for next week. So what it does is it takes all my days that were that are mostly full and just slots in 2 hours. So I always know I've got 2 hours in my day that is mine. And if someone wants an urgent meeting or an urgent thing, I just go, yeah, I know I've got 2 hours that day. I can just put you in there. It also means that I've got some me time, some catch-up time. But yeah, certainly put the gym, put your cinema, put your days out, put your holiday, get it all in there, and then just say, here's my diary. Because I've spent virtually no time now dealing with my diary. People do it for me. And I say to my clients, if you want to rearrange, there's the reschedule link. Click on it. Pick a time pick next time. I don't get involved. I get all these rescheduled requests. I just turn up in the morning and say, what am I doing today?
That's so much easier, isn't it? We use Calendly. Katharine runs the sourcing circle, the 100-day sourcing circle, and they get to book one-to-one coaching time with Katharine as part of that. And yeah, Calendly works really well for that as well, doesn't it? So, and that can be 100 days, so sort of 3 and a bit months ahead, getting organised in that sense.
And you can set your schedule up in Calendly. I mean, mine is specifically doesn't let anyone book Monday before 12 and Friday after 12. So I've already got an early finish Friday and I've got a lazy Monday. So that's pre-configured in my Calendly. And you can just build those rules in. If you want to have every Wednesday as gym day, you just put Wednesday afternoon. Can't book that automatically.
Yeah, just, book it all out. I'm smiling because I'm off to London. I've got an afternoon off, my first holiday trip for this month. That yeah, I'm off to meet friends for lunch in London. So yeah, that's me. You won't get me this afternoon either. Right. So that is our questions, but I've just got one more that I wanted to add in there, which is Katharine, just finish us off, 2 minutes. Meet your recruiter. Tell us all about it. What is it? What do people need to do? How can they get involved?
Okay, I'm going to try and share my screen a little bit. So yeah, this is a LinkedIn posting challenge. It's next week. So it's 5 days, 5 prompts to help to start get you posting on LinkedIn or keep you posting on LinkedIn. Share a bit of your wonderful selves as well. Show your uniqueness with your network. And also just, yeah, remind your network who you are, what you do, why you're connected to each other. We've run this, I think this is the 4th time we've run this now, and this time the prompts are much more specific. So in the past, I've given you sort of prompt words, which have been quite open to interpretation. I was hoping that would get everyone's creative juices flowing, but I think actually people have found it a little intimidating.
Tell me what to do. Just give me the word. Tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
So that's the approach I've taken this time. So on Monday, I'm asking the recruitment industry to share 3 fun facts. So they might be facts about you, your business, your industry, whatever you want. Tuesday, I'm asking you to share a job, but I am challenging you not to just post a link to a job. I want you to tell everyone about a job and tell them what they should do if they know someone who might be good for it, or they would be interested themselves. What should they do? On Wednesday, share something of value. So you've probably got lots of things that you've created that would be really useful for your network, blog posts, videos, presentations, how-tos. We make this stuff all the time. We send useful information to our candidates to help them write their CVs. We've got all this good stuff. Share something with your network and let them know that it's there on Wednesday. On Thursday, industry news. Pick something topical and give your take on it. So what's everybody talking about? What do you think? And then on Friday, your thoughts. So this is the broadest one. If you're stuck, I would say give your thoughts on the week. How has Meet Your Recruiter gone for you? Have you had more interaction on LinkedIn? Have your posts got more views? Has something good come out of it? Did you reconnect with someone you worked with years ago and now you're going to work with them again? Yeah, just let us know how it went. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, and the reason it works is because that hashtag, we follow the hashtag, all the people that are involved, we're all going and looking at the different posts, we're supporting each other. So get involved, support other people. John, I can't wait to see your 3 fun facts about yourself on Monday. You've got to get involved because you've got one that you shared with us at our team meeting that was just amazing. So I want to see some info on that. But we're here to support you to make sure, and the aim is your profile goes up. We've seen it before. You get thousands of views. I think mine on the first one was like 17,000 views, 110 comments. Never get that normally. So this is your opportunity once a quarter to really give your profile a boost and get it out there. So thank you for creating that for us. And yeah, we'll be streaming live on LinkedIn for it as well. We just did a test just before this one. I think it went all right. We had a bit of a laugh doing it, but we got there. So this is Ask the Coach. This is our fortnightly session where you get access to people to ask them the questions. So feel free to post questions in here afterwards or on our page. Email, we don't care how we get the questions, and then we can share them and get the right coaches in for you. Thank you, everyone. So Joe, John and Katharine, thank you for your time today. Look at that, 45 minutes dead on, 12:30. Away we go. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Enjoy your weekends. We'll be back 9 o'clock Monday morning. Katharine and Charlotte, meet your recruiter. 3 fun facts. Can't wait. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, Angela.